wisdom as well. This list is, so you better be good looking, you better have some wisdom, and you better be superiorly intellectual. And the next part is to understand science. This should be taken in the modern sense, but rather it means their skill in areas of learning of their day. So like they just kind of understood construction, engineering, and all those wonderful things. So essentially a perfect student, naturally intelligent, like above average, wise, so you just don't have brains, but you know how to use your brains, and you're good looking, right? I only tick like four of those boxes. So there's only 4 criteria, guys. Anyway. Now here's the thing. Although an education in the Chaldeans was the way, the customs, the culture, the society of the Babylonians, which was polar opposite of what the Hebrew boys had learned in Jerusalem. Although an education such as this did not in itself violate their religious laws, their environment and circumstances presented some real challenges. So like, you know, you can learn about something, you just have to be careful not to do that something. Just for instance, you know, a doctor who's studying on addiction on drugs and alcohol, right? It's not a sin because you're studying and learning about it. It only becomes a bit of a sin if you're like, oh, I'm also drinking and smoking all that stuff at the same time. So they were studying it, they were understanding the culture, what society was like in Babylon. But of course, more than that, there was also the pressure to conform to that way of life. And that's hard. I know it's easy, like we can read about it, but imagine yourself, every day of your life, you're learning about these customs, you're learning about this way of life. You're surrounded by people who embrace that. And you're surrounded, I don't know, but maybe there was pressure, peer pressure. So, unto whom, verse 7, I'm reading verse 7, chapter 1, verse 7. Unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name Belshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego. So isn't it interesting? Belshazzar is Daniel's Babylonian name. But the cool thing is, because Daniel wrote the book, he never refers to himself as Belshazzar, but as Daniel. And isn't it also kind of crazy that whenever we talk about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we're referring to their Babylonian names, not their Hebrew names. They'll be upset with us right now. We're like, and the faith of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like, that's not my name. Yeah, we had faith, but get my name right. And we've been doing this for the last 2,000 years, guys, so it's stuck. Because I never hear someone going, and the faith of Hananiah and Mishael and Azariah. Who's that? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So Daniel meant, God is my judge. My judge is God, or God has judged. Those are one of the interpretations. God is my judge, or my judge is God, or God has judged. Hananiah meant, Jehovah is gracious, or Jehovah has been gracious. Mishael meant, may be understood to mean, who is what God is. His name was really deep, Mishael. Who is what God is? Imagine your name is just a question mark. What does your name mean? I don't know. Azariah means the Lord helps. And so what you understand here is, significantly, all their Hebrew names indicate their relationship to God of Israel. And in the customs of the time, means they had devout parents. So their names also indicated that their parents had such a strong connection and relationship with God, and that was instilled into them at a young age, already essentially prophesying over what their life would be like, saying, God is your judge, saying, Jehovah provides, Jehovah is gracious in your life. Now here's the cool part, well, it's not the cool part, is the meanings of their Babylonian names. Is Daniel's name, which was changed to Belshazzar, means may Bel protect his life. Bel being a god, a Babylonian god. And then Hananiah, who was Shadrach, Shadrach means command of Aku. Aku was the moon god. So they really flipped their names. Mishael, whose name was changed to Meshach, his name is who is what Aku is. So they played with their names real good. They essentially took what? Yeah. And it's okay, random thing. Isn't it crazy that parents call their children either Shadrach, Meshach, or Abednego? I'm like, that's a Babylonian name. You know what your child's name means? Like, I have met somebody called Meshach. Commander of Aku. I didn't know we had that in the house, but anyway, I still like the names. Alright, Azariah, whose name was changed to Abednego, means servant of Nebu, another god. Nebu, Nebo. Alright, I'm going to read for you this really interesting paragraph, and we'll close off with that today. Is let me clear my throat to make sure you really get the significance of this paragraph. The fact that the Hebrew youths were given heathen names, however, does not indicate that they departed from the Hebrew faith. In that Hebrew culture, so if you're from a Hebrew culture, names reflected character, the very soul of the man. Their identity was tested. On the surface, the changing of these names may not mean much to the casual reader. It doesn't really mean much if someone's name's been changed here. But to those who study God's word will recognize it as a scheme to gradually wean these young men away from their land, from their religion, and from their God. These men realize what the significance of changing the name meant. It says it might not make a big difference right now, but if we can get you bit by bit by bit, eventually, your religion, your God, your way of life, your faith, you would depart from it. And this is amazing. The enemy doesn't try to catch us just like this, full blown. The enemy is okay waiting with you for the next 40 years if he knows you can slip away in 40 years. He's patient. He doesn't just come full-blown, full-throated. He says, if I can get you to take just a tiny step each year, I'm okay with that, as long as you take a tiny step. And the life of Solomon is an excellent picture of this, because when he's a young man, he's so faithful to God. He's full of wisdom. And in his old age, he departs from God. He has temples to every God you can think of in his city. He's become a heathen. Isn't that crazy that the wisest man in the world couldn't see where he was going? Why? Because the enemy got him step by step. This is the problem with Solomon. He kept saying, just this one time. That's it. Just this one time. And every time he had a good reasoning. Well, I'm marrying her to bring the nations together. There's always a good justification. It's always just this last time and that's it. And Solomon, from being a faithful, devout man of God, is building temples to every god around. Because the enemy wants to get you bit by bit, bit by bit. And the Hebrew boys understood that right now they're changing our names. And it might not look like much, but what they're trying to do is get us to forget who we are, what we were created for, and who our God is. And if each year we can keep getting called that name over and over and over and over and over again, we take that gradual step from departing from our faith. And that's what the enemy does with us as well. That's what our fleshly desires do with us as well. Is our flesh wants something and realizes it can't get it. It says, okay, just a tiny nib, just a little bite. That's it. I promise. And that's it.
Yeah.
I'll close off with this, guys. I remember I was doing the Daniel fast, you know, where you just eat vegetables and essentially nothing. And if you know me, I hate vegetables. I think they're pointless. And people always tell me, you need to eat your vegetables. You know what? I've lived a successful life so far. Most of these people who tell me I need to eat my vegetables, I can run faster than them. I can live faster than them. So I'm like, you know what? Your evidence for eating these vegetables is not doing you any justice. But that's not the point. I don't like vegetables. But I did the Daniel fast, and I'll tell you what, guys, let me be truthful. After 2 weeks, everything tasted so good. You know, when you go hungry for 2 weeks, I tell you what, I was eating vegetables raw. They were tasting good. Like I did this, and never in my life has vegetables smelled so good in my life. Like I would eat them. I was eating peppers like apples, and I was like, oh my, wow, this red pepper. It's so good. I was like, can you take the difference between the red and yellow paper? Oh, honestly, that was my life eating vegetables. Now, I remember I was in the church by myself one day, and I was hungry, because you know what? Vegetables, like my metabolism is really quick, so within 10 minutes I'm hungry again. And that's eating normal food. So vegetables only is gonna kill me. So I remember I was in the church by myself, and I was walking outside, and I looked in the kitchen, and I kid you not, there was a packet of chocolate digestive biscuits. Right? Now I was doing this fast for 40 days, so about 29 days have gone by. I haven't had any sugar. And I don't even know how it's possible, but I could smell the sugar from the biscuit as I was walking. My senses became very sensitive during that time as well. So, you know, I just came and I stood around the biscuit, which is kind of weird, but I just stood and I looked at the biscuit for 10 minutes straight. And then my body said, hey, listen, just eat it. And I said, no, I'm staying devoted to this. And then I thought, okay, what's the definition of eating? Like you eat something, is you chew it and then you swallow. That's eating. But what if you chew and you don't swallow? I said, well, I can't chew because the fragments will be in my mouth, right? So my body said, how about we just lick the biscuit? So I took the biscuit and I licked it. And I kid you not, the sensations that came through. I felt like a child eating chocolate for the first time in his life. Anyway, the end of the story is I ended up eating the biscuit because it was too late. I was like, if you're gonna lick it, might as well eat it. Just go all the way. What's the point of the story? It's the flesh, the enemy wants to get you bit by bit by bit. Alright? And it looks like, oh, I'm just having a lick. That's it. You end up eating half the biscuits. And then it stays with you for the rest of your life. It's been 5 years now and I still think about that biscuit. I couldn't stay faithful. Anyway, Sandra, do you have a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, for the gym, I'm sitting there and Liz brought chocolate in. And I gave her chocolate and then so I got to sit and look at it all day.
Throw it away!
So, is it alright if I lick it?
Go for it. Anyway, I don't know how we got there, but We're going to cover the book of Daniel more in depth next month. I'll keep reading. And you guys have... I lied! You've got like a 4-minute break.
Right.
I thought we were going to be done early. But my
That story was worth it.
my past came for me.
Aha, we're getting there.
There we are.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you guys
Oh,
hear
you
her?
can. Looked up straight away. Oh, bless you. Okay, we're just getting organised here. So let me get us. Oh dear. Okay.